the problem, depending on how they see it. So I'm sure that is what is still affecting, and maybe will affect, the implementation. Because what people had in mind is not necessarily 100% what they are getting. But in addressing any problem like this one, it's give and take. You don't get 100% what you want, because there are many parties concerned with the problem. Each one maybe gets a piece of what they wanted, another gets a piece of what they wanted, and together stability comes out of it. So for me, I think there is a chance that we may get somewhere with that. And why I asked the previous question, the other question about the previous handling, the different administrations handled this matter, it was like actually there was less caring for how to deal with this matter than we have now. Because for them it would just be, M23, sanctions, Rwanda, and that's it. But how do you handle things like this and expect? I don't think they have even learned from history. In fact, it is the same people also who failed in those years that, and now because we talk to many of them, it's like, yeah, but what do you think about this Trump thing? You know, we see, but, and it's like they don't even hide the fact that they are disappointed because they are not at the center of it. It's like, what do we have? For us, what do we have in it? And I tell them, but that's none of my business. You were here all these years doing nothing except doing the wrong thing. Because I asked some of them, when you really went all out and were sanctioning Rwanda, sanctioning M23, praising the other side, and then vague about FDLR, and what did you really think you were doing that would address the problem? So why would you be asking me anything? You should have asked me that time. You did, I explained to you, you didn't listen to me. You decided to do things the way you wanted because you thought... And in fact, I also don't stop reminding them that actually they are part of the problem. The main part of the problem of this Congo situation is external, in actual fact. Look at the UN presence in Congo. How many years has it been there now? So, and I keep asking people, you sat long ago and decided to create this mission. You did. But it's a couple of decades it's been there. You never take stock of what you achieved, what you are doing there. But you keep running with the machine, keeps going. Second, coupled with that, if you look at You have heard of something called the group of experts who tell the stories of what's happening on the ground, who are supposed to guide some of the actions and so on and so forth. The expertise they provide, the reports they write, actually do not have anything to do with the situation itself. These reports were written long ago, when they were being given the mission. So they just come to make sure that everything conforms to that as of origin. Because that's why you always find it's all others guilty in this situation of different things, except the actual perpetrators. You will never find they write anything comprehensively about FDLR. You'll never find they write anything comprehensively about how government institutions are connected with FDLR in spreading hate ideology, genocide ideology. Things that are done in broad daylight for everybody to see. So you wonder how experts cannot see that. But all the reports, 75%, it's blame on AFC M23 and Rwanda. And they're always tight because they say, Rwanda-backed M23. You will tell me in your research, if you ever saw anywhere DRC-backed FDLR, you will never. So the narrative is already written. They just come here to make sure things are adjusted to suit what they want. They talk about minerals as the center of the whole problem. By the way, they should also blame themselves, because if you highlight minerals and then later on you blame somebody for also saying, yes, we have a deal in minerals, but around that we want to solve a problem, because they are the ones who highlighted the minerals in the first place. So how do they blame Trump administration for saying we got a big deal on minerals? Yeah, but you made the minerals the issue. You, the people who are blaming everybody, including blaming Trump administration. But the way they used that, it was like Rwanda is just in Congo doing whatever, supporting M23, or even the existence of M23 is about minerals, according to them. So they keep playing, even overplaying this narrative. In the end, it works to the detriment of the solution to the problem. Now, it really becomes like, it's like having arsonists being the judge and the prosecutor of people for burning down the house. The very ones who burnt down the house are the ones in the seat to judge, to prosecute, and everything. This is what happened. So some people oversimplify this matter, and take it just to the surface. It's about blaming AFC M23, Rwanda, former president of DRC, you mentioned. By the way, do you know that maybe, I don't know why you should never forget things conveniently. You know how the current president came to be president? He was just called to the office, and this man thought he was making a good deal, and they handed him power. Do you also know that actually there were witnesses, heads of state? Did you know that? One of them being the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. The other one being the president of Egypt, Sisi. The other one being President Ramaphosa of South Africa. You ask to go and visit them and ask them this question. So this whole thing, you see, no, I wish they could actually come forward and say, hey, wait a minute, by the way, we know this story. the story, and the other thing is, you also know that Rwanda being blamed for M23, FC M23, Eastern Congo, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Fine, you can blame us for doing whatever we could to make sure FDLR doesn't cause Rwanda problems, and whoever was supporting that. But you cannot blame us for the start of this conflict, because everybody knows where this conflict started from and by who, and it is nothing to do with Rwanda. This M23, I have said it before, came from Uganda. They did not come from here. Why was it not made Uganda's problem? Are these things I'm talking about new to you? You don't know them? But the story goes out today, it's every day, Rwanda, M23, Rwanda, FD. Yes, but you should also tell people how this became Rwanda's problem. Our problem was simple, twofold. FDLR it has been a problem in the past. It's a problem now. It will be a problem in the future if it continues to exist, threatening Rwanda. There is no way. We don't, as I again said before, we don't need anybody's permission to protect our country. It doesn't matter. So that one put aside. The other one is this Congo uprooting its own people from their ancestral homes and from wherever, and Rwanda has nothing to do with how Kenya-Rwanda speaking people went to Congo. Nothing. We cannot be blamed for that. But they've been killing people in broad daylight. They've been removing them from their homes and making them refugees here. You know how many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people originating from there who are refugees here. So the fact that we are hosting these people, the fact that we are saying we can't accept FDLR, is it a problem that Rwanda should be blamed for? Is it a complicated problem that groups of experts cannot see? So I've given you a very wide explanation to the very simple question you asked. Whatever solution that does not address these important matters to be addressed will just keep the problems between Rwanda, DRC, the whole region, and wherever else, going forever. But the matter is simple. If you don't play games, if you don't allow genocide ideology to take over the region, and then things can be addressed. So for me, I'm thankful to President Trump's decision. And by the way, even if it doesn't work, I don't think they should be the ones to be blamed. They are not the ones to blame. Because in the end, they are not the ones to implement what we have agreed. They just brought people together concerned with the problem, and they've introduced a new way of approaching this problem, which has not been forthcoming from others. And so here, it's our job, it's our task for us in the region to implement that, or DRC or Rwanda to implement their part of the bargain in the agreement. But of course, it helps if the United States administration remains close by to follow up and says to people, well, you said you would do this, what happened? They have some leverage over the matter. So I think I have, I did it so broadly to preempt other questions related coming. Yes, okay.
Thank you. So we could have light, and then we'll come this way. There's another mic.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. President, for having us. Thank you, sir. I have a question with two parts. The first part is the deal between Rwanda and DRC about joint security measures and removing FDLR. What is the promises have you received to achieve this? And then the second part is what steps will Rwanda take if the FDLR is not removing?
Yeah, let me add something, but I'll come to it, your question, which by the way, the deal we reached in Washington, D.C. does not stand in isolation. That one was mainly between Rwanda and DRC. Equally important, there is another deal ongoing that concerns the internal groups of Congo, FC, M23, and the government, and maybe, I don't know where else they will involve, that is being discussed and brokered in and by Qatar, the state of Qatar. You remember the story when I met with President Tshisekedi in Qatar, in Doha, and it originates from there. So these are two sides of really the same coin. So internal matters, so that, and the reason was to avoid the confusion that had been created over years and which nobody was addressing. Congo was always trying to make this problem only a problem between Rwanda and DRC. But there is a bigger component that is DRC's problem, not anything to do with Rwanda. So that's why, in fact, that Qatar effort will look at it broadly between AFCM 23 and DRC, in my view, and maybe by extension, because that is the political side now. I said three things: political, economic, and security. So the political is actually mainly internal, so that it doesn't continue to produce these problems that where you deny people their citizenship, or like the other side, Ted, you hand over power to somebody and runs with it, and later on, last time we had elections, so-called, but no elections really happened. It was just a continuation of the thing that was handed to the man, and he just keeps running with it. But that's another story. So, and I'm reminded by what you just brought up. As I said, we reached an agreement in Washington, D.C., but it is not up to Washington to implement it. It's those who reached the agreement there to actually be the ones to implement what they agreed. And we have also seen in the whole history of this matter that people really don't necessarily do things according to what they agreed they are going to do. That's a lesson we have learned over many years. So if FDLR is not dealt with, and we have set out the way to deal with it in the agreement, then that means the FDLR continues to be there, and the problem continues to be there. And Rwanda will always do what it has to do when FDLR is along our border. There is no magic wand here to be used by anybody. It's you have just to do what is right to do to deal with the matter. So for us, we have this obligation, and we have laid our case, and out of that, we have agreed to do a number of things to deal with, and do it together with others, and we will do that. You will never find Rwanda at fault with implementing what we have agreed to do. You'll never. But if the side we are working with plays tricks and takes us back to the problem, then we deal with the problem like you have been dealing with it. There are no two ways about it. But we are serious, we are honest, we look forward to implementing what we agreed to do and to eliminate the problem.
Thank you. Since Maurice has a microphone, agenda next.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Ufitine Maremi Maurice, ndi umunyamakuru wa RBA. Mu kiganiro n'abanyamakuru cyo kuwa 9 Mutarama, mwaragize muti iki kibazo cyakabaye cyarakemutse kera iyo abantu bakirebera mu mizi yacyo batagiye gucengacengana. Ni ku ruhe rwego mubona aya masezerano ya Washington areba ikibazo agihereye mu mizi, ese muyafitiye ikizere kingana gute? Murakoze.
Yabona bisobanuye n'ubwo nabivuze mu Cyongereza mbere, amasezerano yarahari mu masezerano hari ibyo aba yashinzwe bemera gukora buri umwe ku giti cye cyangwa se gukorana hamwe. Ntabwo rero iteka abantu bose bakoresha ukuri cyangwa bavugisha ukuri no mu byo bemeye ku mugaragaro, ariko navuga ko ku ruhande rw'u Rwanda tuzakora ibyo twemeye uko bishoboka, ariko bimwe bihera ku byo abandi bakora nabo twemeranyije. Iyo badakoze ibyo twemeranyije, ubwo birumvikana ko bifite ingaruka ku byo natwe tugomba gukora, kuko twemeye kubikora kandi tuzabikora ari uko n'abandi buzuza uruhande rwabo. Rero kandi ibi nibidakora tuzakomeza dushakisha inzira iyo ari yo yose. Igihe inzira itaraboneka yo gukemura ibibazo uko bikwiriye kuba bikemuka, u Rwanda narwo ruzakomeza gukora ibishoboka byose kugira ngo rurinde abanyarwanda, rurinde igihugu aho kubura umutekano bitewe n'uko abandi twumvikanye batuzuza ibyabo byangombwa. Ibyo rero ni uguhora abantu bashakisha uburyo, nibyo tuzakora, nibyo twebwe tureba imbere yacu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Lionel Ditavidier. I work for the Pan-African Review. Since we are on the topic of Congo, in 2012, during Umushikirano, you gave a speech in which you criticized powerful countries, mainly Western powers, for scapegoating Rwanda, imposing sanctions in an attempt to reshape our region to their liking. You even mentioned that they considered us as sheep to be,
slaughtered,
yes.
Wherever.
So you used Rwandans to be self-reliant. You used the term which has deeper meaning, I think, kwigira, and to ensure that they will never again be made to carry the blame for crimes committed by others. So my question is, more than a decade later, how close has Rwanda come to achieving the kind of self-reliance you envisioned?
Yeah, for Rwanda, I can account for everything you ask me to account for. What I can't account for is what others have been doing, because those 13 years ago and what I said, Rwanda has constantly been changing. But those powerful countries and how they see us, or maybe see other Africans, has really not changed. It's the same story, and it is what I've just been talking about. They still don't care. Not only do they not care, they actually want to stop you caring for yourself. That's the biggest problem. But for Rwanda, the progress we have made, and especially of taking care of ourselves,